G'day everyone, it's Brad right here from singlemalt.com.au and today I am privileged to be sitting next to Ian Schmidt from Tin Shed Distilling Company, and we're going to talk about this month's malt of the month, which is his Iniquity number 15. We are very excited Ian. Awesome to see you, mate.
Thank you, I'm pleased you're excited.
I am very excited, mate. It's always amazing. For people who don't know, and probably not many of you do, Ian's actually been a member of the Single Malt Whisky Club now for how many years? It's been
a lot.
A good 5, 6, 7, 8 even. Could even be 9 or 10, I don't know. But it's...
I know you've taken a lot of money off me.
I have taken a lot of money off you.
Get some back.
He's about to get his own back this month, so that's fantastic. But mate, it's been an absolute honour having a whisky producer as part of the club. You know, your feedback has always been fantastic to us. It's always good hearing from people, you know, and I know our members know their whisky, but really no one knows whisky like the man who's making it. And to hear that you're enjoying our selections as a guy who has got access to this in his backyard, that's awesome, mate. Can you, just to start with, can we run through a bit of, you know, how you got into distilling and how you got to set up a distillery? I mean, I know there's a million people around that you've got their dream job, mate. You've set it up, you've done what a lot of people are dreaming of, so tell us how you did it.
Possibly is my dream job, because here I am in my early 60s and I finally found something I'm halfway good at, naturally, without trying too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we know, we learn from other people, or we learn from reading books or trial and error. I've got a partner in this business called Vic Orlow. My wife and his ex-wife, so there's 4 of us in it. And Vic one day and I were leaning on the school fence waiting to pick up the kids, and he mentioned to me that he'd been delivering mail that day because he's a postie. He's actually a chef by trade,
right?
And he's got a good palate, but he works as a postie because it was more conducive to a family house.
Very cool.
And he was delivering mail to a homebrew shop, and he said, "Oh, this homebrew shop's got a still. My dad was Russian and he used to make vodka, and I'm going to make some vodka too." And I said, "Don't bother buying a still, I've got one." I inherited a small laboratory still from my father, and he in turn inherited it from his father, and it originally came from Pike's Brewery in the Adelaide Hills. It was their laboratory still to determine how much alcohol was in the beer. Anyway, we started making alcohol in the kitchen, made him some... Actually, I don't think we ever made any vodka. We still haven't made him any vodka. But my wife one day told me I was too old, too fat and too slow to continue doing what I was doing for a living, which is to make flagpoles. She said, "You silly old fart. Why don't you do something more sedentary like making whisky?" That's the sort of thing your wife only ever needs to say once in a life.
That's a keeper, I reckon.
Anyway, here we are. That was 2003. We did some research. We started a business called Southern Coast Distillers, and there were 3 of us then, and 3 wives. But the other bloke turned out to be not much of a partner in the business, and we're still arguing with him in court. But now we've started again in 2013, and here we are, making Iniquity.
Great. Without giving too many secrets or anything, have you had any major hurdles to overcome in setting up a distillery of your own?
Heaps.
What sticks in your mind? Is there any major issues that were tough to deal with?
Well, dealing with our ex-partner has been a major issue in the
Right.
courts,
Yep.
but that aside, there's plenty of other issues, and the biggest one's cash flow. This whisky, which someone might buy next week, or you're buying next month, or this month.
This coming month, yeah. Yep.
We paid for that 3 years ago. So that money's been sitting there evaporating in the barrel for 3 years.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. Investment money full stop is a problem. To start a distillery you need really deep pockets and very long arms. We haven't had deep pockets and we haven't had long arms either. So we've done everything slowly, paying for it by selling some booze and then reinvesting the money. So we've only just started to draw a little bit of money out of the company this year for the first time in 6 years, but most of the money goes back into the company to buy more barrels, to buy more malt, to buy more equipment, more fermenters, more pumps. It's just a never-ending story chasing your tail.
Yeah, I'll bet it is. Yeah, just looking around, you can see the money that will be invested, and such a like you say, you know, there's such a long time between putting the money in and getting your return back. So,
Yep.
but I guess the interest is all the happy faces you see sampling your craft. Does it ever get old to hear people telling you your whiskey is fantastic?
No, I enjoy that. It's a
I
hoot.
bet you do. Yeah.
It gives me a little bit of a buzz every time someone says to us that.
I suppose we should get down to Tin Tax and have a taste of this and give a bit of a tasting note. You up for that?
Sure.
Let's do it. Look, this is actually the second dram I've had of this. We had one just when I got to the distillery this morning, and this is sensational. The nose on this is just... It's just so sweet. There's just honey. There's huge amounts of apricot to me. There's chocolate.
Overripe fruits, a bit of
Overripe.
leaf litter in autumn when you have a lot of leaves from deciduous trees lying on the floor, lying on the ground, sorry, and you go for a walk and you kick it up and it's a bit wet. It's got a bit of that smell to it.
That bit of, yeah, almost a background sort of mustiness. Or
A little
almost,
bit of sweaty saddle and leather.
And this colour, now we were talking before, it's about 3 years old. That's correct,
Yep.
isn't it?
Yep.
And this colour is amazing. So what sort of wood are you using to age this?
Okay,
batch?
this particular one, 2 port barrels, which are both just a whisker under 3 years of age. And we also took with it the last of the batch 14. We had a bit left over from our bottling. We blended that in. So there's a tiny touch of sherry and there's a tiny touch of French oak influence, but the majority of it is port barrels, 100 litre American oak.
Right.
I tend to prefer port barrels over sherry. I prefer the flavour.
Okay, yep. Oh, and it's got bucket loads, mate. It's got bucket loads on the palate. Just a little bit of pepper on the back.
That
A
would be
really crisp mouth feel, a really crisp flavours, aren't they? They don't sort of gum up with too much oil. It's a nice light feel on the mouth.
And that bit of spice at the back of the palate and all over the tongue, that is the French oak influence. It's quite potent.
Yep. Getting that definitely. And the finish just goes on. Once again, it's not a particularly spicy finish or a peppery. It definitely does have that there on the sort of back and sides of the tongue, but it's not overpoweringly.
It's more
so.
like spearmint than peppermint.
Is that okay? Oh, yeah. All right. I'll take your word for it. But look, just so many floral coming through, floral flavours and fruit, and like you say, just all held together with a real malty sweetness of, to me, like wheat bix and honey almost. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, it's quite common in our whisky.
that's a common trait with
Yeah.
Iniquity, is it? Yeah. Okay.
Common trait. They're usually very heavy in your face flavours, in your face nose. Lots of colour is normal with our stuff.
That's exactly, yes. Oh, it's just delightful, mate. It's a bloody nice job.
Glad you like it.
I can't wait to throw this at our members. I think they're going to absolutely bloody love it. It's very exciting for me to be promoting Australian whiskey. We have been around since 2005 and we have just loved watching the Australian whiskey scene blossom like it is, and it's, not just give you pride in your country, but the drams you get to celebrate it with are absolutely fantastic. So
We frequently get interstate and overseas visitors come up and talk to us at shows and events, and they're usually blown away by the Australian spirits.
yep.
Yeah.
Mate, look, it's amazing just how many distilleries we've got springing up in Australia now. On a bit of a political note, is this sustainable? Is this going to be sustainable in the long term, or do you think there's a bit of a hard road coming up for a lot of this?
I think we will see natural attrition because not everybody who starts a business, any business, be it distillery or whatever, is necessarily good at business, and there will be natural attrition from people who go broke for all the usual reasons, giving credit when they shouldn't, cash flow issues, just simple bad luck, fires, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it is sustainable for the foreseeable future, for the next 5 or 10 years at least.
Right.
Because the Australian production is such a small percentage of the Australian consumption, and we also have the potential to export around the world.
Yep.
All the big players in the world are currently doubling or have recently doubled their production capacity. That's done with a good reason, because they think the Asian market's coming online to buy whisky. The middle classes in China are growing. Same in India, and India's a huge market for whisky. It's the biggest market in the world. So I think there's huge potential, and I can't see it coming to a sticky end in the near future in Australia.
Righto.
There'll be the odd case of someone going broke, but that's not the industry as a whole, it's just an individual.
Well, look, I can't thank you enough for having us down here today. I can't thank you enough for allowing us to feature your whiskey this coming month. We are, like I said, so excited. Iniquity, batch 15, it's only going to us and your club members, as I understand. So
That's correct. It's not a particularly big batch, and you're going to gobble it all up, and there'll be a little bit left over for the Den of Iniquity members.
Yep, excellent. We
That's
can't leave them
about-
out in the cold.
That's as far as it'll go.
There you go. Well, look, I am really looking forward to hearing the feedback. I know it's going to be good feedback. Our club members are going to love this. It is a sensational whiskey. It's Australian. And look, I'll sign off by thanking you once more. And it's Brad Wright down in Adelaide for singlemalt.com.au, talking to Ian Schmidt. Thank you very much. Thank you for the taste. Thank you for your
Slàinte.
hospitality. And Slàinte.
Yeah, Slàinte.
Cheers. Cheers.
It's different.
That's good.
Yeah. I'm glad you like that.
I really do. I love that bloody nose. The sweetness on the nose, but then when it hits the palate, it's not overly sweet. It's not
No.
cloyingly sweet, is it? It's
There's-
got it there,
There's a
but
bit of floor varnish or something in there at the end.
I'm not sure what that is, but it definitely just tempers down that sweetness hugely.
No, it's not sweet on the palate. Well, not very. Especially the back. I like varnish or floor polish.
You reckon there's? Yeah, okay. I'm not.
Yeah, maybe. That little bit of heat still there from the French oak. Yeah, there it is.